The poem True Love was written by the American poet Judith Viorst, who was born February 2, 1931 in New Jersey. She graduated from the Newark College of Arts and Science at Rutgers University. She began writing poetry at the small age of 7 and is married to the political writer Milton Viorst. The poem True Love was written in the year of 1968. Viorst skillfully gives examples of a comical and realistic view on love. The poem shows that a marriage can be uncertain but also amusing, showing how each day their love is being put to the test by daily challenges. The author's purpose in writing the poem True Love is to show that allowing yourself to be truly in love with someone will come with consequences and sacrifice, while also learning to put up with certain things that your partner does simply because you love them. Also to show that love is not perfect. The tone that the author uses in the poem is comical and ironic. Judith Viorst talks about being in love in a lighthearted and unconventional way, while also bringing in the negative aspects of a relationship that you would not see in a cliché love poem. The tone is comedic in a sense because of her use of realistic situations in amidst her writing, such as how the wife completely despises watching football with her husband, but puts up with it anyway because she loves him, which many women around the world do anyways just to please their partner. It's ironic because even though Judith opens up each stanza with "it is true love because," she always talks about something that she dislikes about her husband. As in, other writers would probably write all the mushy stuff about how much they love their partner, Judith talks about how much she dislikes him but loves him at the same time. Next, the author lets us see what it's like from the husband's point of view. She explains how the husband dislikes her drinking, but how she wakes up the next morning with a hangover from too many martinis, that he doesn't just let her sit there in pain, he actually helps her out because he loves her that much. This picture symbolizes when the wife says that she'd rather see her husband lying dead in the middle of the street when he's late for dinner than having an affair with another woman. This reinforces the fact that the author uses irony throughout her poem because she loves her husband so much she wouldn't want to see him having an affair with another woman. As much as we see the couple talk about the things that they dislike about each other, we never see anything about them ever leaving each other. This just shows that they are willing to work through anything that they have going wrong in their relationship, which also proves that this is true love. Not only does the author help convey the story of the poem through her tone, but she also uses her diction to help portray a different side of marriage. Her diction throughout the poem and the use of words make the bigger problems in marriage seem minuscule and anticlimactic. For example, in the 4th stanza, Judith talks about how her husband left her for a business trip, while she had to stay home with the children and the exterminator. In that moment, she claims how her husband actually understood why she hated him in that moment. Even though Judith Viorst talks about how her husband understood that she hated him, we can tell from her diction that she truly didn't hate him. She just couldn't stand him in that moment. She really does love the guy. She was probably just annoyed that she had to stay home with the children while he was off on some business trip. Judith Viorst is also very repetitive throughout the poem. Reusing words and phrases over and over, she uses it to appeal to the reader and ensure the reader's understanding of the situation, and also to emphasize the subject of true love. For example, before every stanza, Judith opens it up with, "It's true love because." She also reuses the word philosophically when she talks about things she is completely against. But the biggest thing that Judith Viorst uses the most is her sense of comedic timing and her tone, her condescending tone at that, throughout the whole poem. She makes marriage seem funny and light throughout the poem and not sad when she's talking about all the things she dislikes about her husband. Judith Viorst possibly pulls from her comedic side from her children's books. Yes, not only is she a poet, but she's a really well-known author who has written tons of children's books that are still being read today. This picture represents when the wife gives the husband an ultimatum. If she and the husband mom was drowning, who would he save? He says that he would save her. But through the use of her tone, you can tell she thinks that he'd save his mom instead. In the end, Judith basically says that despite all their problems in their marriage life that tend to, and I quote, to dampen the fires of passion, they still completely love and truly love one another. What could have possibly inspired Judith Viorst to write this poem? Well, she got married to her husband in the 1960s, and this poem was written in 1968. Even though there's no set interview of her saying she was inspired by this event, we could get a pretty good idea that she was inspired by her marriage. In an interview, she speaks of where she got most of her inspiration from for her books and poems. She said, from home. She even wrote a children's book specifically about her son. So we can guess that the poem True Love was based on her and her husband's marriage life.